Today we're taking a look at something a little different. Not a camera, but a camera back. The LomoGraflok Back by Lomography, which enables you to shoot Instax Wide on large format cameras. And I'm a little bit freaking about this, so we need to get started right away.
The kind of photography that would become part of the human being. Press a button and have the picture.
Welcome to In an Instant. My name is Ben, and on this episode we are going to talk all about the LomoGraflok Back, what it does, what it means to the world of film photography, and why my mouth has been left constantly agape since the first frame that spit out of it. All of that and much, much more here on YouTube. For some context, Lomography, which has a long and downright illustrious track record in subverting the instant film market with their unique cameras and accessories, announced last year they were going to drop a certified Mac Daddy, an Instax Wide back that attaches to 4x5 cameras using the common Graflok system, which many 4x5 cameras are equipped with. As of the posting of this video, this product is not actually released yet, but it is expected in mid-2021. Keep in mind that what I am holding today is a prototype sent to me by Lomography, so it will actually look like this. A more polished unit, a finished product, if you will. Clean and pure in every way, unaware of the travails of our modern society. So what you're looking at here is not reflective of what this will actually look like in the end, but functionally, we are gonna get into what it can do. Right off the bat, I wanna show you the very first results we got with this thing. Many people DM'd me that they pre-ordered it immediately after seeing these pictures because look at this. This is ridiculous. This is on Instax film. The sharpness, the rendering of detail, the color. Mounted to the 4x5 reducer back on my Intrepid 8x10, you can finally see what Instax film looks like through a beautiful glass lens. For some people like myself, it is something of a revelation. I mean, hot damn. I've seen some great results with higher end Instax alternatives like the Lomo Instant Square Glass, but this is a whole new ballgame altogether, especially given this is for the big boy Instax Wide. And this gets to the reason why I think this back is truly a late fourth quarter interception game changer for Instax film. Something that absolutely plagues the Instax Wide format is the lack of available camera options, particularly by Fuji itself, who seems to completely ignore the biggest instant film format they have left. Polaroid will always have the SX70 and the SLR680 to carry the serious shooters who want to shape beautiful images with premium glass lenses, manual focusing, and high-end mechanics, but Fuji has never even touched that echelon of instant cameras for their formats. So to place this back behind a large format glass beast of a lens, attaining the full flexibility of a large format camera, is truly shining a new light on the Instax format. This configuration has never been done before in this elegant of a form, and by golly, by the grace of my instant forefathers, I hereby declare the LomoGraflok Back big for business. Obviously, folks. Come on. In continuing to shoot with the back and seeing this film emulsion truly come alive in a fresh way, it brought up some feelings a lot of people share about Instax's supposed similarities to Fuji's other iconic instant film, the discontinued FP100C pack film. So I took a Polaroid 405 back with me on a couple shoots to see side by side what Instax Wide is actually capable of looking like compared directly to our beloved fallen peel apart soldier. And look, I'm not saying it makes Instax Wide into a replacement by any means, but this is pretty impressive. There's an undoubted difference in dynamic range due to the integral format, but definitely puts a little tiny cushion under the hard blow of losing the last stock of FP. Instax Wide can be a similar integral alternative if you're looking for that color science. And finally, it looks the part behind these high-end glass optics. Chef's kiss. Chef's French kiss. And that brings me to the second reason I think this back is so important. As long as Instax is around, this back is breathing an entirely new format into over 150 years worth of large format cameras. I love shooting 4x5 celluloid as much as the next guy, an expired Polaroid 4x5, but these amazing cameras getting a fresh, living alternative format to dance with is a really cool concept. And the affordability of shooting Instax makes it less expensive and less stressful of an activity then, loading your sheet holders in the dark, fumbling around, taking your shot, coming home, unloading them into a tank, tripping over the table in the laundry room, tearing the lateral meniscus in your right knee, going to the hospital, going through difficult physical therapy and saying stuff you really can't take back to the ones you love, coming home, processing the film you shot, scanning it. I mean, my God, all those steps are simplified and made way less expensive by simply loading a $10 pack of Instax Wide into the back and having a blast with no medical bills or damaged personal relationships at all to handle afterward. To give you a look at how this thing works, it is a little bit of a different focusing process than 4x5 sheet film. Because the back sits deeper than the ground glass, there's a separate focusing mask that you insert like a sheet holder. This not only allows you to focus properly, but also frame for the exact dimensions and placement of the Instax Wide format, which is smaller than 4x5 obviously. After you remove that glass and mask, then you clip the back in there. You remove the dark slide, fire off, replace the dark slide, remove the back, and eject the image. It's a beautiful song and dance. We love to see it. During the COVID, a lot of folks have been getting into large format photography. I count myself among those who took the dive last year. I mean, look at this thing. It seems like everybody I know and their mommy is getting into the big stuff. Some of my pals in the community have even gone as far as to pre-order the back without even having a 4x5 camera yet, which I think is sick. This is an awesome movement. It's supporting the film manufacturers who still produce sheets. It's great for the community of large format shooters, and it's amazing to see these legendary cameras get dusted off. And in my opinion, this LomoGraflok Back has come at just the exact right time as hordes of people want to explore this. On top of that, if you're new to large format, this is an incredibly cool tool to learn the ropes. At the price of $134 for the pre-order, this is a steal for what it's enabling you to do. If you can't tell that I'm hyped, you must have lost your damn senses. Now, because this product is a little bit unique, rather than doing a pros and cons segment, I'm gonna throw it to our segment You Asked It, where I field a couple questions from you, my lovely, beautiful audience, who I adore. So let's do that. Alrighty fam, so you sent in many questions. Some of them were slightly unrelated, like why is banana yellow? Will it blend? How many megapixels? When I eat Taco Bell, my chest starts to hurt. Is that what love feels like? Are waffles just pancakes with abs? And at least 10 other questions like that. But there were a few I do want to address now, so I picked the 5 most commonly asked ones. First one from the wickedly talented Han from Restore from Backup. She asked, how's the workflow for composing a shot with the Lomograflok Back? It's a great question because it is a different process having to place the composing mask into your holder, then remove the ground glass, then place the back on. Like everything you're doing for the first time, it did feel a little bit awkward at first, but it feels slower until it doesn't anymore. After a few shots, it just becomes second nature and I wasn't thinking about it at all. It does add time to portraits, and since your subject has to stay mighty still, that is an added layer of difficulty, but I think the results are worth it. And also, you're already shooting large format, so you're putting in the time anyway. Second one is probably the most asked question, so I'm just picking one of the iterations. Make It Dylan asks, can you try this with eBay seller Aaron 7399 600SE 3D printed Graflok adapter? So, Aaron Smith, who is an artist that makes lo-fi conversions for the Goose and many other cameras, has made a 4x5 Graflok adapter for the 600 SE, which theoretically would have been easy to use with the Lomograflok Back. It adapts onto the Goose fine, but the issue here is that the rangefinder and the lens are not calibrated for the difference in focal plane that I mentioned earlier, which is the reason why you need the focusing mask. The back sits further back, and his device is not calibrated for that. So focusing with the rangefinder or the distances on the lens focus ring is a bit of a no-go. There are some hacks like ground glass holder attachments you could use with this setup, and essentially use the Goose in the same way as a 4x5 camera. And if you're down for that, check eBay, start loading up on accessories, just lose yourself. By Eminem. Next, we've got a question from one of my favorite artists, Jamie Swick. She asks, which lens are you using with it? And do you think the build feels intuitive to use? So the lens I'm using on my Intrepid is the Nikkor W 300mm 5.6. It really is an amazing lens, in particular with the 8x10 field of view. It does crop quite a bit, reduced to 4x5, and even more on the Lomo back. So that has been interesting to try and frame with. I think I definitely prefer a wider lens with this back due to that crop factor. So I don't have to stay in another county to fit my images in frame. Even so, for portraits, it's still very lovely. And as for the other part of the question regarding the build, I think it's really interesting because it feels similar to the Lomo Instant Wide. Just like basically if you took a cleaver and chopped the front of the Lomo Instant Wide off, it's basically that. Mechanically, it feels almost exactly the same. And the final production model has some of those same touchstones as well. So I really like the way it's designed, and I think anyone can pick it up and understand exactly what to do right away. Instant Flamingo asks, how do I know which camera will be compatible with the back? It's pretty easy because there's only one thing you really need to know. Does the camera have Graflok clips, or can its back be modified to take Graflok clips? That's it. So look that up if you're considering a 4x5 camera body. The back just sits right in that 4x5 opening, and the clips slide into the sides of it. So those clips are a very universal feature, so you'll find them on most systems. And a lot of people have also asked what cameras to buy. Personally, I don't think that really matters. The thing that matters is the lens you buy with that camera. Certain cameras can do more movements, and there are field cameras and there are rail cameras, but it really just comes down to how big is too big for you? What do you want to spend? Do you need it to be portable? Those are all just personal preferences, and what lens are you getting? The lens is by far the most important decision to be made there, so think about it. Think about it a little bit. Finally, a question from Success. He asks, is it worth it when you already have an Instax Wide camera and too many miscellaneous accessories? In my opinion, this product is in a completely different field as Instax cameras, if you know what I mean. This is not a camera. This is a tool for large format photographers who want to expand what they can do with the system that they have and have some fun with instant film. I think the main thing to consider if you don't have a 4x5 camera is, do I want to invest in large format? If so, the back is a pretty inexpensive addition to your kit, and all that stuff has very little to do with what other accessories or cameras that you already have. It's just a different thing. All right, to prevent this episode lasting a full calendar year, I'll leave it here. Thank you for watching in an instant. Go ahead and mount that subscribe button to a 4x5 camera and smash away. Stay tuned for more reviews, breakdowns, shoots, guides, and all things instant. Bye.